Good morning, how are we doing? Hope you're good. So in this video, we're going to talk about dealing with insecurity. Okay, we're going to deal with dealing with insecurity. It's a beautiful morning. It's a stunning morning. I know it's not a regulated Rise to Thrive show, but I thought we'd come on. So one of the reasons that I wanted to come on and do this was because recently I've been talking a little bit more about where my insecurity comes from. Now, when I was 6, my dad died of a major heart attack. Tragic event. They were up in Blackpool, and the ironic thing is, if he didn't die, my life would be completely different, right? You know, we were up at Blackpool, or my mum was with him, and they were about to sign a contract for a brand new house, right, the next day. And they were about to start we were about to start a brand new life. My dad had got promoted. He was a senior operations manager for some company. And they went up there and they were having a nice dinner. The next day there was some contract for the house. I was going to start a brand new school. And we were going to start a completely different life because we were down here at the time on the coast, living with my nan. And on that night they had dinner and they went to the hotel room, and he had a major heart attack. Right there and then, and that was him, gone, died. And the grieving process that I used to go through was I always needed reassurance from Mum that everything was going to be all right. I always need to make sure everything is perfect or everything is going to be fine. And it was really, obviously, it must have been very difficult for my mum to be able to bring up a 6-year-old who had just lost his hero, his father, right? And it must have been hard for her to be able to deal with that, as well as, like, oh my God, my whole life was mapped out in front of me, now it's not. And I think that probably since he's gone, I think the level of, like, help and guidance that you can get today is nothing like it was back then, right? So I think it becomes really, really difficult to then, when I look at my life today, I become very insecure, and I think that's a real direct result of my dad actually passing and always needing to know that everything was going to be okay, because he passed and I'm constantly worried that something bad is going to happen. Like, I constantly worried that I'm going to lose my business. I'm constantly worried that my missus is going to find someone else. I'm constantly worried I'm not doing a great job as a father. So I've become really insecure at times. And there are times, like, when I feel really insecure and it affects my behaviour in such a way that I really close in on myself. I kind of overnight suddenly lose all of my confidence. And you might not see it as much your side on the other side of this screen. But like, I'm quite happy to share that all with you anyway. But, you know, my partner can notice when I go in within myself and I suddenly start becoming insecure. My business coach can tell when I suddenly become insecure and I'm starting panicking about business or other bits and pieces on the professional front. And the way that, and one of the ways that I can really try and deal with that insecurity is by having really strong people around me. And also the ability to recognize where the insecurity comes from. Now, for many, many years, I didn't really know where it come from. I would always feel these spells of, I wouldn't say it was panic, but I would say it was high levels of anxiety and high levels of uncertainty that really dictated my mood. Now, I remember doing it in the military. I was so specific with the military. I was meticulous with everything I did in terms of my routines, in terms of double checking my kit, triple checking my kit. And yeah, they are byproducts of being disciplined, but like, I used to be obsessed to the point where it become quite compulsive, because I just wanted to make sure that everything was going to be okay. And the way that I run my business is that I probably drive my staff mad, because I'm meticulous, right? Like, I have a specific way of doing things to make sure that everything is going to be okay. And it can be crippling at times. It can be really draining in terms of energy. output to be insecure, but recognizing it is the first step to being able to handle it. Because as soon as I recognize it, I can then start reassuring myself and doing what I do to reassure myself that everything is going to be fine, to learn to go with the flow, to learn to manage my emotions and my mental state, to be able to open up to my other half and other friends and be able to talk about it. And then the more I talk about it, you know, the more I kind of verbally brain dump it out of my system to be able to get on with things. Like, you know, two of my main sources of brain dumping is my partner and like one of my best mates and my coach. So like when I'm going through it, I really see everything for what it is when I verbally diarrhea. Verbally diarrhea is that word. But I think it's important to share this because I won't be the only one that goes through levels of insecurity. I won't be the only one that suffers with it, with low self-esteem and low self-belief and low self-worth. And there will be, I'm sure, some trigger from the past. And it's being able to not avoid the mirror, okay? I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and be able to face up to that insecurities and the things and not actually try and ignore it and not try and actually put it off, but actually confront the insecurities and confront what's going on in my head and confront the by actions of it, you know, but the actions as direct result and the people that are involved. Because as soon as I fall into that, I'm a nightmare to be around. Walking around like head down, like falling into that pity party. And I've got much better over the years of being able to handle that and deal with that. And that's conditioning the mind, right? That's working on yourself, that's educating yourself, that's improving yourself. And that's recognizing yourself at a much higher level and a higher standard. Make sense? So I wanted to share that with you. So if you feel insecure and then you go through some of those emotions like I've spoken about in this video, really address them. Don't let them manifest. Don't let it occupy your mind. Don't let it control you. Like, do more to kind of like face the man in the mirror. Okay, face up to him. Face up to what's going through in your mind. Speak to your partner, your wife. She's your best mate. Talk to your best mates about it. Write stuff down about what's going through in your head. And you'll often find that like when you improve yourself as well in terms of your systems, your routines, your structures, the way you look at life, you'll find that your mind becomes a little bit more conditioned to deal with those situations as well. Listen, I hope that helps. I think it's good to kind of like maybe listen to other people, what they're going through, to kind of get some perspective about how you're feeling and how you can move forwards. But I can certainly guarantee you that you're definitely not alone. And even though many men won't admit it, many men will go through insecurity. Even the top coaches in the world will go through some level of insecurity. I don't feel like you can ever just block it out. The self-negative chat or feeling sorry for yourself or insecurities, those things will always enter our brains and our lives. The thing about conditioning our minds and where we're going is that we can learn to flip that situation. We can learn to manage it, control it, and turn it into our favor, to understand it better. So what you think might become a problem becomes an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. All right, amigos. Have a great day. Looks like it's going to be a sunny one. Have a great day.